The endangered children of the Niger Delta. The Niger Delta, blessed with some of the largest deposits of crude oil in the world, and from which Nigeria generates more than 90% of its internally generated revenues, also symbolizes the resource curse owing to its enormous level of pollution and degradation of biodiversity, lives and livelihoods. Today, the Niger Delta has some of the most polluted, unlivable environments in the world. What an irony! But worse, the future of millions of children in the Niger Delta is threatened by these pollutions and multifaceted factors arising primarily from the presence of the black gold in environment of their birth. Really, did they go wrong? How could it be their fault? How long will the neglect, degradation, desperate poverty, pollution-induced diseases and needless deaths last? Are the people, even the young, not entitled to some form of dignity, some decent life, an environment in which they can flourish? The obvious neglect of the region and accommodation of oppressive and inhumane operations of multinational oil corporations in the Niger Delta are a recipe for the militarism and instability we have seen in the region over the years.
State emergency should be declared in the Niger Delta for education, for food, and for water, for health, because it's nowhere. All the money that have been used to develop this country come from the Niger Delta. The billion that share declare every year come from here. Yet, this is the poorest place to be.
The oil spill that is in the community, our parents can no longer go to farm. In the farm, even though they are going to the farm, we are not having much harvest again. Even in the river, fishes are dying. We don't have fish again. Even in the pond and the swamp, fishes are no more again because of the oil spill that is going on everywhere.
I have become so shocked. Every community now, you see a young person of 30 years traditional ruler die the king. I tell you, I will soon die.
This need not be. A peaceful, prosperous region with bright prospects for its young is still possible. Impacts on children's health. The exposure to gas flaring and oil spill pollutions have had dramatic and disastrous consequences for children in the region.
I think children and women are most vulnerable, maybe even children, more of the children, because the children are looking for forms of recreation. They will see a polluted river, they will jump into it to swim. Because children need to swim, they need to relax, they need to exercise themselves. And so they get exposed directly to the chemicals.
This thing is affecting us, including Yes. And I carried them, two of them. This is my two children I have. Last one is I take them to the hospital.
Primarily, apart from the gas, what you also have is acids coming down into those places. So for children particularly, we are dealing with things like pleuritis, pneumonia, primarily. Those are very basic. But these things have also been known to be carcinogenic. So it means that over time we're going to be having issues with cancers of the lungs and possibly from those pollutions.
3 weeks today for the gas leaking. We are coughing. So the thing is disturbing us. When the gas enter our nose, it will affect our stomach. Our stomach will be doing as if that we want to vomit.
The effect of the filler is not just for the children alone. It affects everybody. If you can see those roofs, you can see the color that changed. What we normally have is that during the dry season, if there is no rain, the first rain that comes, it is always very black. The one that falls on top of the roof and you take it very black. Acidic, and You should also know that when those who used to bath, as soon as rain falls, we go under the rain. And when you bath that first rain, maybe the following day you start experiencing rashes on your body because you bathe acid water, not just ordinary water.
Cancer in the air. Medical researchers over the years have found the poisonous flares, carbon monoxide, benzene and others, and oil spills to be carcinogenic. Acid rains and recently soot constitute complications for kids, young and fragile bodies. Cancers of various types are therefore commonplace. Children are born with multifaceted birth deformities like this boy who has his brain growing outside his skull.
Gas flare is one of the problems that really affect us here. Our health, everything is affected.
This oil spill has really affected us. It destroyed our crops and we cannot eat it when oil has damaged it. We cannot eat contaminated food.
For a hope that never comes, there's a cry.
These children have not known the difference between what the environment used to be and what it is now. They don't know how fishing used to be in those days before the advent of oil and what it is now. They probably would grow up to feel that it is normal to find oil in their rivers. It is a normal thing to find oil in their stream, and that it is a normal thing to drink water that is polluted by oil. They might not know because that is what they have seen, and that is what they are used to seeing, and that is what they drink since they were born.
Educational system in shambles. Oil wealth should naturally imply the presence of first-class educational infrastructures, but not so for most parts of the Niger Delta. Dilapidated buildings, decrepit classrooms, non-availability of basic teaching tools are the order of the day, in addition to absenteeism on the part of teachers with either low salaries or non-paid salaries and generally dispirited students population. Walls still. Disillusionment and idleness give birth to restiveness and then militancy with all the disastrous consequences. Deaths, vandalism, damaged biodiversity and lost livelihoods.
You have over 90% of illiterate children roaming about, and like we say, an idle mind is the devil's workshop.
Most of our teachers, government is no more paying them. Some of them, even if they come to school, some of the students are not comfortable in staying in the classrooms. Some are sick due to the crisis.
Only heaven knows where did they go wrong. There's a cry from a river.
That is because I find it very difficult. I don't like going to school. I don't think I myself, in my primary school, but nowadays in my secondary school, I can stay a whole week without learning anything, not even to jot down anything.
You are complaining of interferences, the pipelines or whatever. These youths are idle. They are not trained. There is no information. So we need to look at these issues. Let's improve on the capacity development of these youths. Take them out. There are some persons who learn drive. Employ them, engage them. These are the issues. So we are trying to synergize on our own part to see that we'll make them do the right thing. But we have no support. We have nothing. They talk, they don't listen. That's a problem.
Yet, these are preventable with more attention to the young, better development agenda for the region, the goose that lays the golden egg. Nigeria's Niger Delta, which way forward? Is there a ray of hope for the Niger Delta? Where is the government in all of these?
Now, was the NDC perfect? No. Is it perfect? Far from it. Can it do better? So much better than it's doing. But in the land of the blind, The one I ask.
We wrote a letter to the Bayelsa State Government to the Office of the Resident Government of Oil and Gas. But we get no attention from the government now. As I speak to you now, as I leave you now, I'll be going to also prepare another letter that will be sent to share, raising these concerns and complaints.
NGOs came up, and we've also traveled, we also read. So with our exposures, I think we have to join and partner with those NGOs who are into the environment and also start advocating. And I think the advocacy have been going on, and by the grace of God, we are believing that the next generation will have a better life than what we have today.
I'm telling the government that you should try and come and rescue the community of Ikara.
Everything is wrong. No book, no tree, no uniform, no sandals, nothing. Only did that. The other thing I did, because by the time I came in the budget for that year, for the budget of 2016, which was the budget I prepared, provided for renovation of schools across the region. Again, I wasn't there to implement it. But one of the reasons for that was we said to ourselves, let's renovate schools. Like I said, gave out the books, gave out computers to teachers. It was supposed to help with the learning. We did a training for teachers.
So the children are really vulnerable, and adults don't appear to think about tomorrow. This is the crisis they are facing in our environment. When we neglect the environment today, we are setting future generations to great harm.
Our recommendation: in light of the sorry state of education, infrastructure, and continuous but mostly unpublicized degradation of lives and endangered futures of the young in the Niger Delta, we recommend the following: a declaration of a state of emergency in the educational and health sectors in the Niger Delta, a specific ministry, department of agency dedicated to youth development in the Niger Delta, better and direct allocations to the development of the most endangered of communities in the Niger Delta, a specific research into the ongoing impact of the pollution on the lives of infants and children in the Niger Delta with a view to stopping the pollution and attending to these health emergencies. A better monitoring of the budgetary allocations to Niger Delta states, ministries and agencies with a view to ensuring strict implementation and general accountability. A prosperous Niger Delta is still possible.
I know you don't feel you have a reason to shine. You're giving up because of what you're going through. There's no better way to explain to you than to tell you the world has a place for you. I know you're a star and you were meant to shine. Tell all your neighbors and your friends to shine. Don't take long, listen to the song. Spread love to another, you can't go wrong. This little light of mine, so I'm gonna